You're welcome to another episode of Called to Marriage. My name is Thomas.
And I'm Marcia.
Today we.
I was gonna say, and this is Charlie, who you'll pretty much only see the back of his head today because he's taking a nap, which is how we need him to be in order to accomplish this podcast.
Right. We literally recorded an earlier one, and we had some interruptions, and we had to make sure that Charlie was all sorted out before re-recording this. So, well, anyway, we're going to talk about postpartum and learning to be parents today. And there's no better way of talking about learning to be parents than learning to deal with Charlie while trying to record a podcast. So I'm going to take our scripture for today from James chapter 1, verse 5. James chapter 1, verse 5, the Bible says, "If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all liberally and without reproach, and it will be given to him." Amen. I'm going to take it again.
Amen. No, that's fine.
Okay.
So if you lack wisdom, ask of God. He'll give liberally, right? The reason why we chose this scripture is because in a previous episode of the podcast, we had mentioned how, I'd been reading books about pregnancy, about childbirth, getting ready for all that. And it was just going to be too much to also try to figure out this whole parenting thing in advance. I mean, even no matter how much, learning you do in advance, in any case, you never know what's going to happen. You never know what kind of child you'll have. And at the end of the day, it's going to take the grace of God and the equipping of God, which is what we were trusting God for. And so we've been praying, that God would give us the wisdom. And we believe that he is giving us the wisdom day by day to know how to be parents. And today's topic is about postpartum and learning how to be parents. And so in that learning, it's really just a trusting God that he'll give us the wisdom to specifically to parent this one and to parent all those who are ours to parent in this life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the last episode we were talking about expectations of being parents, preparing to be parents. And we talked about the fact that, you can't really planning to be parents, I meant to say.
No, I meant to say that the reason I did that is because it's the episode before last, because the other one was, the last one is the pregnancy one, dealing with pregnancy.
You mean the last episode? That's the last episode, the one we just posted. That's the one we talked about planning.
Right, but that's not going to be, but there's going to be one that's going to come before this one.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Anyway.
Yeah, so we were talking about how parenting itself really is a matter of not being totally in control of everything that happens. And so obviously you need to prepare, and it's good, it's wise to prepare. But generally speaking, it's a learning platform for parents as well. So we're just going to lean on God, and that is exactly what James talks about here. When you lack wisdom, ask God. We've never been parents. We've never been to school to learn how to parent. And so the most important thing we need now in this season is the wisdom of God, how to know what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and where to do it. Very important.
All right, so let's talk about postpartum. I don't want to spend too much time here, but I felt it was important to say just some few things about the postpartum time. I'll speak from my perspective. Thomas will speak from his. Postpartum is not really something I prepared for. You often hear people say it'll take about 6 weeks to recover, or at least that's what you even assume, because a lot of times jobs will only give you 6 weeks. If only you guys could see from my point of view.
Sounds like, what?
He's taking a very cute nap here.
No way, mommy.
So I've heard it said that way. I've also heard people say after I gave birth anyway, when people were trying to, encourage me, they were like, you know what? It takes 9 to 10 months to form the baby, to be pregnant and make the baby. So it's going to take another, 10 months for you to really, really completely heal.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wondered to myself, well, what about people who, get pregnant before 9 months? So do they get pregnant while they're still healing? Like, that's complicated. That's
before 9 months.
Who get pregnant again before 9 months have passed. Yeah. And so I'm like, there's just so much to think about. So at the end of the day, your journey is yours.
Yeah.
When it comes to postpartum, the most important thing I think I want to say is don't have that expectation of yourself that you're going to heal in 6 weeks, that you will even heal in necessarily 3 months, or even the 9 month mark. I mean, I would hope that we would be healed. I'm not there yet to say, but even at that point, the truth is you're never going to be the same again. And so just don't even really think that way. From my experience, I'm still in the healing process. So I know that 6 weeks wasn't enough time for me. He's 9 weeks now. We're 9 weeks postpartum. I'm still healing. But at the end of the day, I'm a new person, right? Like, my body's never going to be exactly the same as it was. My mind, my thinking. I'm a mother now. He's here. He'll never not be a part of our lives ever again. And so there's a newness that comes with the postpartum period. And so we just have to embrace that. And yeah, so I want to encourage you to do that. And so for me, just briefly, emotionally, I was very kind of unstable almost. When he first came, I was a lot of crying, a lot of high emotions, both in the positive direction and in the negative direction, right? Because things get hard. And at the same time, you have like this lovely baby who came out of your own body, but so there were a lot of highs and lows that are now stabling out. Physically, still healing physically as well, like I said. But feeling way better, right? I don't think I can do full activity based on we did a little hike yesterday. It wasn't really a hike because it was level ground, but it was quite a long walk, and my body. Yeah, my body spoke to me after and let me know, you're still maybe not ready for that much activity yet.
Go easy on yourself.
Go easy on yourself. Yeah, but at the same time, let's say like my stomach went down like a week after I gave birth. I honestly, in some ways, yeah. And in some ways, I feel like I look better than I did before I was pregnant. But there are other things that are still taking time to heal. So that's postpartum. And one last thing I want to say about postpartum from my perspective is that another thing you'll commonly hear is that when you become a mom, your baby's going to be the love of your life. Oh, it's magical. It's delicious. It's, it's, it's romantic. It's all these things,
As shown in the movies.
Yeah. And it just wasn't that for me, and it's not because I don't love him. I think it goes without saying that I love him. He came out of my own body, obviously. But I understand people who just don't have those like strong feelings right away. I do think for some of us, it develops over time. Yes. And I think what I felt when I saw him, I'm not going to lie, like to describe my feelings when I first birthed. Oh, his name is Charles, by the way. I don't know if we announced that, but his name is Charles, our son, because that's another thing we should announce. He's a son because we didn't know the gender in advance. But I just felt like, wow, like this was what was in my body, like for all those months, like, whoa, like it just was surreal. And it was a positive feeling, but it was also like a little bit of an unknown, like, wow, here's this human being. And honestly, the overwhelming feeling that I felt was a sense of responsibility. It's like, okay, he's here now. Like, this is it. It's go time. Like, I have to
take care of him.
Yes, I have to care for him. Like, it's a huge sense of responsibility because being a parent is an honor. it's a gift from God. Children are a gift from God, and it's just a big responsibility, and it's something to be taken very seriously. It's not something to be taken lightly at all.
Yeah.
And I don't take it lightly. So that's more so what I felt realistically from my point of view. But you can say from your point of view and all other things postpartum from
Yeah,
the
I totally
paternal.
agree with everything you said. It's not
Side.
something to be taken lightly. But I would say though, she's been doing an amazing job. Given that it's our first time for both of us, this is the first time we're ever having a baby. So there was a lot of learning to do. And what I have learned is that she can learn quickly. She learns what she needs to learn so she can apply them like right now and then. And she's been doing excellent at that. Like she just snaps and then she learns something quickly and she's already using it like she knew it before she even had the baby. So that's been excellent. And I've literally stood to watch her and admire her from a distance, just looking at her be a mother. It's just awesome. Right from the day she had Charlie. I mean, I was here. I recorded everything. So watching her do what she did was like she nailed it. She just did it like flawlessly. Even though I know it's God who strengthened her. She had a strong mindset going into it, and you could tell that she was ready for this, even though she also didn't really know what to expect. But she did it, and she's doing an amazing job. I just wanted to say that before I, you know, spoke from my perspective
That's
as far
very
as
kind.
the postpartum is
That's
concerned.
very big words. And
Yeah.
right back at him from the father perspective, he's been excellent. I mean, I could spend a whole podcast episode talking about that, but it's your turn to talk now, so I won't interrupt too much.
Yeah, for me, obviously, I didn't carry this baby. I didn't birth this baby, so I can't talk about postpartum from the physiological point of view because I didn't really feel anything in my body. So it's mostly psychological and emotional. And, just looking at this little thing laying down, especially when he's sleeping, I take a good look at him and I feel like, yeah, this is my son. This is my child. It's awesome. And earlier I was saying that when Charlie came out, it felt as though time ceased, time was paused or halted, and nothing meant anything to me except, taking care of Charlie and my wife. That's all that meant something to me for like 3, 4 days, maybe for even a week.
Mhm.
For like a week, I even forgot to take showers. Like, I'm not kidding. I would wake up and would not care about anything. I wouldn't care about eating. I wouldn't care about doing anything. All I'll care about would be to be there for them, take care of them, get this for me, get that for me, hold Charlie, clean up, do this, do that. And it took some time for me to kind of like, ease myself into being a father. And I guess that was the transitional period of waking up and thinking about, say, myself, and maybe immediately thinking about what am I going to eat for breakfast? And slowly transitioning,
Relatable.
slowly transitioning from that to as soon as I wake up, where's Charlie? Is he awake?
Yeah.
Is he okay? Do we need to change his diaper? Do I need to take him from his mom so his mom can have some time to do other things? That's all I care about now. So that period, that's how the postpartum came to me. That's how I experienced it. That shift from an individualistic perspective, even though I did care about my wife before Charlie came, but it's like an add-on, another layer to, okay, well, you need to check on this little thing before you go to any other thing. And that's beautiful. I think as a father, it makes me feel good. It's fulfilling, and it fills my heart with gratitude. I'm just thankful to God for giving us this wonderful gift. I see myself in him. I see his mother in him. It's just this, words cannot even explain it. And it's wonderful. I think it's a privilege to be a father. and be the man of this home and care for them and help them however they need to be helped. And that's how I experienced the postpartum period. That's how it came to me. But the takeaway, the highlight is the strength of my wife, how strong she can be. That's the thing that stood out to me. Watching her deliver the baby. I know they always say that if you watch it, it's going to change. It's going to change something about, how you perceive your wife. And it is true. It does speak to you about your wife and how valuable. It's priceless, the strength of a woman. The strength of my wife is just priceless, and the strength that she brings to our home, how she takes care of this baby. It's awesome. It's not easy staying at home with the baby, all day long. So I really applaud her for that. So it's just been revealing to me, observing things, looking at how strong she is in different areas that I wasn't really paying attention to before the baby came. That's how I experienced the postpartum. What?
It's a lot of high praise. Okay, I'm humbled, guys. I'm way less than perfect, but I appreciate the appreciation because it was hard work, and it is hard work.
Yeah.
But he works hard too.
Into parenting?
Yeah, right into parenting. I was trying to remember, did we actually mention some few key things about the birth before we?
Yeah, we can.
I can't remember if we already, because we're re-recording. I can't remember if we already said it this time. I know, right? So, okay. So let me just I'll say it and then just take us right into learning to be parents. So in case you didn't know, by the way, when he talks about, because when you said that you saw me give birth, a lot of people didn't get to see to be fair, they should have been able to, but COVID made things complicated. So there were instances in which, you don't get to see from the same perspective. But in any case, we had a plan to give birth at home. That's exactly what we did. And so he really was up close and personal with everything. And
it's awesome.
Yep. So Charlie was born at home. We had a team of midwives. They were amazing. They walked with me through postpartum. Shout out to them. They were really excellent. Yes. And you were really excellent. You already mentioned all of what you did, but just being there, not caring about, the little things, but really being there for me, for being there for Charlie. So it was a great experience. And yes, we both were very strong because you have to be, when you become a parent, and I know I've said this in another podcast too, but it's just so great and also so important to have your spouse with you when bringing new life into the world. Yes. And I said spouse. Okay. So yes. Anyway, so bam, Charlie's here. We've got to learn to be parents, we've got to learn. Yeah. And we don't know what we're doing. And like we said in the beginning of the podcast, we've been trusting God and we're trusting God, and that's how it's been. So learning how to be parents. The thing I want to say here, what is it that I want to say?
This is what I've been dealing with. See, I need to pay attention, not for me. I can't let anything distract me. I need to watch everything she's saying.
Yeah. Oh, you know what it is?
Okay, you got it.
Oh my gosh, I almost woke up. Oh my gosh, I think I woke him up. Oh no, go back to sleep.
You'll be good. You'll be fine.
Oh no. You're okay. Okay, we need to wrap this up. No, okay. So the thing that I wanted to say about learning to be parents is be led by the Holy Spirit and be firm in what you decide to do concerning your family, concerning your child and all that. Because again, mentioned in previous podcasts, Thomas did mention this, and everything that we planned thank God we were able to have things more or less that way in terms of like giving birth at home. I wanted to breastfeed him. I'm breastfeeding him exclusively. Yeah. We wanted for me to be stay-at-home mom, for him to take on, the physical responsibility. That is exactly what we did. None of it's easy, but all of it's worth it. And all of it is what we wanted and what we decided. And there will be obstacles along the way. And yes.
Count on it.
People will encourage you to do things in a way that's not what you wanted or what you planned or whatever. And at the end of the day, if it's what you want for your family, and then you need to be firm. If you think it's what's best for your child, you really need to be firm. There are a lot of obstacles along the way. Yeah. So learning to be a parent, that was something that we had planned all those things in advance, but that is the same thing that I need now that he's here in the world in order to parent him, is that as I'm caring for him, not caring about pleasing others, but rather doing what I know is best for him or what I really feel led to do, regardless of what other human beings have to say about it. So yes, the learning for me, that has been the biggest lesson so far in learning to be a parent, is really just sticking to what we feel led to do.
Right. People like to be conventional, There's a way that most people do things. Even choosing to have Charlie at home, came easy to us. But as far as the world out there, it's like, are you guys sure about this? How is it going to be? Their doubts? And we understand all that because people are not used to it, even though it's becoming more and more popular these days. But it's something that the Lord led my wife to do. she understood it even more after she had the baby, which I so much appreciate, that she was able to fully understand that God was leading her to do that. And I just supported her to do that. I believe every woman deserves a chance to
pause. You know why? Because
that's parenting right there.
Yes. We'll be back after these messages. And we're back. As you were saying, my love.
Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about. People like to do things in a conventional way, in a way that they are used to doing them. And usually, as humans as we are, we try to force our opinions on others, but it doesn't always work like that. So when it comes to parenting, I totally agree with everything my wife said. It's a lot more about the child, but it's also really about the parents. The parents growing up, the parents maturing, the parents being decisive. You cannot be just carried about by anything, any idea, any thought that you have. Parents need to be firm. That's what parenting is about, right? You need to make firm decisions, and you need to make and remake your decisions again, to reaffirm them, to say, I said I was going to do this, and I haven't changed my mind, even though it seems challenging. I know the value in it. So it's all about values. What do you value? What are the things that you care about? Some parents care about being fashionable, and that's how they approach parenting. They adorn their babies and they look beautiful, they look excellent, and I'm pretty sure they feel happy when people tell them, your baby looks good. He's all dressed up properly, nicely dressed up. He's killing it, or she's killing it. To them, it sounds good. So it's just a matter of figuring out what your values are, and that comes back to our spiritual identities as Christians. There are things that we value as far as parenting is concerned, and those are the things that we want to make sure take the central place in parenting this boy and any other child we're going to have, for that matter. It's not really about catching up with a trend. It's not really about even pleasing our own selves. It's really about passing on values, and it starts with little decisions or simple decisions as how you're going to do things. It might not seem as directly influential, but if you value simplicity as we do, it's going to influence how you do some of the things we did, like how are we going to have the baby? What things are we going to buy? We don't want to swarm up our apartment with a bunch of things because we like to be simple. We like to look for the simplest approach to doing things. And that's just one example. So it's really about, again, I repeat, knowing what your values are and stating your value proposition, as they say in other fields, and carrying them out before you go out into the world. If you go out into the world all blank like that, looking at people's values and trying to pick from people's trees, you're going to end up with conflicting ideas. Like, I want to do this, but this one doesn't agree with that. So you need to really take a step backward and ask yourself, what are our values? And it's a conversation we had for not just 1 year, but 2 years, 3 years before we got pregnant to have Charlie. We were constantly having those conversations. This is what we value. This is the thing that we care about. We want our child to have this. And so this is how we're going to parent our child. And so that grows us as parents, I believe. That's why I said that it's not really about the child alone. It's also about the parents growing up, the parents maturing. And parenting definitely does something to you. You take a decision in your home, you step out into the world, and there are so many things conflicting or challenging your decisions. Now it's up to you to say, I know why I chose to do this, and stick with it. Else, you're just going to be, I don't know, you're not going to be a parent. You say, I'll do this with my child. This is how I'm going to raise my child. You go out there and somebody challenges you and you say, oh, okay, no, forget it. I'll do what you say. That's no parenting.
Sometimes you even feel that the decision you made would be good. Decisions you make would be good for others as well. But at the end of the day, it's not really about right and wrong. It's about values. So it's fine if you want your child to have really beautiful clothes. And especially if you can afford to do that for them, that's great. And if another person wants to put their kid in hand-me-downs, that is okay. That's great. Yes. And you don't need to make a parent feel bad that their child is wearing secondhand clothes. And you also don't need to impose your views by always bringing new clothes over, like, yeah, you might not say it, but we feel it, like.
It's not that we don't want to buy new clothes for our child. It's just
it's about our values.
We don't value necessarily spending money buying new clothes at this point.
Yes, and I'm personalizing it, but that didn't exactly happen to us, but it's not far from something that we've experienced. So the point is, it's made up, but but it's not far. But anyway, the point is, yes, stick to your values and don't also, overimpose yourself on others too. But anyway, so that's a point related to parenting, but we kind of brought it out into the general wisdom, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say
you've got a lot to say.
It's not that you shouldn't listen to people. That's not the point we are trying to make here. We're not saying when you go out there, don't even listen to any wisdom out there, because we also have another value of learning and especially learning from people who have done what we are doing now. So that sort of balances out. We have our values, but we do also want to talk to people. As a matter of fact, we do want to talk to people that we have in our lives that we respect, who have done what we're doing now, about how they dealt with certain things. So when it comes to the day-to-day aspect of being parents, it's not like we've got it all squared out. Hold your tongue. Don't even say anything to us. We don't need to hear anything from you. Matter of fact, we are open to learning from other parents, and we get a lot of advice from the experienced parents that we know, and they have been very helpful to us. So it's not to say that don't listen to anyone. That's also not wise. So there's a line in between not just going out into the world and doing what everyone else is doing, and on the other hand, locking up
right to where you can't hear wisdom.
I'm not open to anything. You can't hear any wisdom. You might be doing something that it's not evil, but it's not real. It's far from right. You could be doing better. Let's say maybe you're doing well, but someone might show you a few tricks that would make you even a better parent. Don't you
Or
like
that could
that?
just, yeah, that could just be helpful, you know?
Right. That could be helpful. So that's good. And I wanted to clarify that.
Yes. Okay. The ending has been hard. Grace, if I misspoke somewhere, honestly, because when Charlie starts, getting a little bit rowdy, my mind starts to not be as clear, in my thinking and speaking. So yeah, but he's doing well now. So that's been, another thing, learning to be parents, just dealing with like having him out, in social settings, let's say, or maybe on camera in this instance, dealing with, okay, we're not sure what's going on with him, or it's going to take a little while to, fix whatever the issue is that's making him cry or whine. And meanwhile, maybe we're in the middle of something, like maybe like we're in the front at the church during baby dedication and he's getting fussy, and it's hard to figure out and keep your composure and figure out how to deal with, a baby who can't communicate with you. So that's also part of the learning. Anyway, that's a little bit of not a tangent, but a ramble at the end there. Yeah. Okay, so
I would say though, I always like to give, a perspective as a man or as a husband. And I would say though, I would say that it's really good to support your wife. I don't subscribe to, strong traditional values, even though I have a huge respect for tradition. I think when it comes to parenting, especially at this stage, it's work. And it really needs all hands on deck, like really. And if you're a man and, maybe you weren't brought up to know how to handle babies, to know how to do certain things, it's a great opportunity to learn. We go to school to learn a lot of things. We spend time learning a lot of things. It would be really nice. Any little thing you're able to do for your wife would save her a ton. Like really, because women go through a lot. Breastfeeding this guy here,
it's a full-time job.
It's not easy. I'm telling you, it's not easy. I watch my wife all the time. And so I'm always looking for avenues to step in to say, let me have him. Yeah, I can go play with him a little bit. I can go sit with him in my office and do some work or walk him a little bit. Just whatever it is, even if it's just 5 minutes. If your wife can just pick her phone up and make that quick call within that 10 minutes, I'm telling you, she's going to feel better. Mentally, it's going to lift off some weight. And so I'm just speaking from a man's perspective that shout out to all the fathers out there doing a wonderful job. I'm learning from my siblings too. And if you find yourself not really plugging in, please do, because there's blessings. There are so many blessings that come with it. And there's so much to learn right from this stage as a father. If you're waiting to, for him to grow up and then you can step in and be the father, you're going to miss out on a lot of things. Learning his personality and his character, forming, seeing it form and all that will help you know how to deal with him. That's what I'm learning. This is not somebody's words. This is from my own experience. So I just want to say that as a man, I would speak for men. And I would say thank you to all the men out there doing a wonderful job, all the husbands out there helping their wives through stages like this one. And if for any reason, if you don't feel comfortable doing this, just ask your wife, how can I help you? Just tell me what to do. Let your wife guide you. Do this for me. If you could do this, it would be nice. If you do the dishes, it would be nice. If we go get groceries, it would be nice. And just try to be more intentional about it. Like look for times in between.
I'm sorry. I'm trying so hard. He's giving all these smiles.
He's talking and smiling.
Yes, he has a lot to say. Okay, anyway.
Yeah. Just find time. Be intentional about being a husband and a father at home. Be intentional about looking at, what's going on around you and steal something out of the time. Say, okay, I can step in to do this. I can do that. And that would be very helpful. And for us as husband and wife, it's definitely building our bond even better, just doing this together. It's like working on a project together. We're learning ourselves more and more. I feel more intimate with my wife now, yeah, than I when I first married her. When we
Wow.
first got married, it's not even comparable, and I think it's because of having a child and kind of like creating the bond between us and sharing this boy together and working together on raising him. So that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you. Thank you. I didn't catch every single word. I'm not going to lie to you because he was so chatty. Charlie, would you like to say something to these people? Because you are just so chatty before we go.
Chatty
You want to
Charlie.
say something? Chatty Charlie. Okay, I think he only wanted to talk when Daddy talked, not not by himself.
Daddy's voice activates his voice. Hey, boy.
So, thank you though. What I know what you said was important. I did catch obviously the main idea, and I honestly, like I said earlier, I think I said earlier, if it was in this recording. There's just so much I could say about how excellent he's been. And yes, fathers, you have a huge role to play. Don't be shy. Okay. Man, there's just so much I could say, but I'm just going to let it be, what it is and end here. Do we want to do takeaways?
I want to say a big thank you to all of you guys. We haven't been that consistent, obviously, for obvious reasons, but I'm thankful to everyone out there who would see this, who is going to learn something from this, who is going to connect with us in one way or the other. And we like feedback, so talk to us.
Sure.
Comment, tell us what you're learning. Try to,
ask
let us get some feedback,
questions.
things that we could do to improve, and all of that.
Leave a comment. Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Charlie?
Just him breathing.
Yeah. That's all you're saying? You have nothing else to say?
Oh my. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening and for being gracious with us through this process of this being our first podcast episode with this new little guy. And we love you guys. See you next time.
See you next time. We love you. Bye-bye.
Oh, happy Charlie. Good job, Charlie.